Commercial buyers of goods rarely have true multi-tier product traceability through the supply chain. They may have a good relationship and a clear set of buying terms with their Tier 1 suppliers, but for a given product, they rarely have certainty of its actual input materials, the Tier 2 suppliers involved, and their certifications and credentials. And what about the materials that went into those materials? Without true multi-tier supply chain traceability at the product level, a business lacks certainty. A random audit on a yearly basis is not enough. 99% of products might be just fine, but even one exception can be very costly. The world's supply chain is an incredibly complex and interconnected network, and no single vendor will ever be able to offer a single platform that can cover the entire market. But luckily, we already have a cost-effective method for data exchange in complex, distributed, ever-changing networks. It is called the Internet. And it works so well because it is open and based on standards. What if we could establish an Internet of traceability, where supply chain participants communicate in the same way that people communicate over the Internet? Thanks to two exciting new open standards from GS1 called Digital Link and EPCIS version 2.0, we can. The GS1 Digital Link standard is a modern barcode that is also a web address, often represented as a QR code on physical product labels. Any supply chain entity can be given a digital link, not just products. Batches, items, containers, locations, and organizations can all have digital links. Because digital links are web addresses, machines and applications can use the Internet to ask for specific traceability information about any supply chain entity. That information is supplied in a standard format called EPCIS. Using these two standards, products can tell you where they were made and the web addresses of the exact input materials they were made from. Those materials can tell you their harvest date, origin, and expiry date. Any product or input material could tell you if it has been recalled due to a quality issue. Factories and farms can tell you their location and their certifications. The end result is a revolutionary supply chain capability where any goods receiver can continuously monitor not just every product batch they receive, but every actual ingredient or component in its value chain, all without a dollar spent on peer-to-peer system integration. And unlike blockchain, the Internet of Traceability uses the same simple technology that powers the everyday Internet and is environmentally efficient. Buyers can continually monitor their value chains for compliance with their certification, legal, and sustainability policies. Highly accurate carbon footprints can be calculated on a per-product basis that consider the real impact of the materials that went into them, powering more meaningful ESG reporting and enabling buyers to focus on addressing the biggest causes of emission in their supply chain. Producers and manufacturers benefit too. In today's supply chain, even raw material producers use other products, from fertilizer to packaging. Monitoring the supply chain for compliance helps avoid situations that could lead to costly repercussions with downstream buyers. Audits become much simpler. With a click of a button, auditors can be provided with a deep picture of the supplier network, freeing employees from the need to manually provide records. Recalls become simple. Manufacturers and distributors would no longer have to track which batch went to which customer. With the Internet of Traceability, buyers can directly monitor not just the recall status of finished goods, but also that of the entire value chain that went into that product. They can instantly react to any problem discovered in any component material and recall just the affected items and nothing more, saving money, minimizing environmental waste, and keeping consumers' and business reputations safe. What this means is that two seemingly identical products may have very different stories. On a good day, the product might be exactly as you wanted it, an efficient carbon footprint. All ingredients and components from certified factories in sanction-free locations, sourced sustainably in deforestation-free areas, with no quality or safety issues. But in some cases, a product that looks identical on the surface could have a very different story. Variances anywhere in the supply chain could mean that the finished product doesn't comply with the final buyer's sustainability, legal, or quality expectations. But historically, multi-tier supply chain traceability at the product level has been very hard to achieve. A buyer could try to establish peer-to-peer system integration with all of their Tier 1 suppliers, and then the Tier 2 suppliers beyond, and so on. But this is astronomically expensive and also brittle. Every time a supplier changes anywhere in the extended network, more money needs to be spent. This approach is so unwieldy that it is never done in practice. The next obvious strategy is for a single service provider to offer a proprietary data sharing network and encourage every supply chain participant to join and submit their data. The problem is that hundreds of providers are trying to do this at the same time. Since all participants are not on the same network and there is no interoperability, we are still left with the same data silos we were trying to bridge in the first place. Variants based on blockchain are also problematic. They are technically complex, have poor analytic performance, and damage the environment with their hugely wasteful computing footprint. TrackVision AI is a software-as-a-service provider that has everything that suppliers and buyers need to get onto the Internet of Traceability today. TrackVision for suppliers enables producers and manufacturers of any size to expose standards-compliant, machine-readable traceability and certification information about their products and locations. Recall notices can also be published via digital link and monitored by any receiver of the product. Suppliers avoid the expense of manual recall processes and no longer have to track exactly which customer received which product. TrackVision Value Chain Monitor provides sophisticated AI-enabled monitoring and reporting tools to reduce risk for any buyer of goods, wherever they are in the supply chain. Detect and address a variety of risks before they become costly to business reputation and balance sheet. Automatically detect sanctioned market policy violations. Continuously monitor for certification gaps in the extended supply chain. Automatically monitor products and every input material for recall notices and find out the exact batches affected. Deep root cause investigation of defective finished goods is also available at the click of a button, allowing quality issues to be addressed promptly with the relevant supplier. Detailed supplier maps can be generated for auditors at the click of a button to allow them to complete their work with minimal effort from staff. TrackVision Value Chain Monitor also assists businesses in monitoring and improving performance against their carbon emission targets. Carbon footprints are calculated for every input material in the value chain, greatly improving reporting fidelity. Causes of emissions are ranked and highlighted, enabling problem areas to be identified and worked on. Value Chain Monitor can also provide underlying carbon and provenance data that can be shared with consumers holding finished products in their hands, allowing easy compliance with upcoming digital product passport legislation. Unlike proprietary traceability offerings, TrackVision is exclusively based on open standards from GS1, so there is no threat of lock-in or monopolies. Its modern, scalable, and flexible architecture can meet the needs of any supply chain participant, from the smallest producer to the largest retailer. Learn more by contacting us today at trackvision.ai.